All right, so we're going to take a look at how the dsMagic namespace for SharePoint is loaded on a site. There are two primary ways to do this. You can either add a few lines of code to your site's master page, or you can add it as a web part by creating an HTML file containing this code, and then adding that to your site's style library, and then creating a content editor web part and linking it to that HTML file. For most situations, the best course of action is to add the tool to your site's master page. All right, so the code that adds the dsMagic namespace to the page does a couple of things. The first thing is it builds a variable to the root of the current site collection. Then it tests to see whether or not it can get the current version of jQuery that's on the page. If this does work, then it goes ahead and kicks off the code to start loading the DS namespace and its associated CSS files. If it can't find jQuery on the page, then it's going to go ahead and append a jQuery script reference to the page, pointing to a locally hosted jQuery file. And then it's going to kick off the additional code to load the DS namespace and its associated CSS files. All right, and if we take a look at the code that waits for jQuery to be available and then loads the DS namespace and its associated CSS files, this is what we see. It is basically an object that creates an interval or repeating block of code that runs every 73 milliseconds until about 7 seconds have elapsed, at which point it will time out if it has not already detected jQuery loaded on the page. However, as soon as this does not fail and it's able to detect jQuery on the page, then it goes ahead and runs its onSuccess function, which is right here, which then runs the AfterEffects function right here. And this is where, again, we build a variable to point to the root of the site collection. And then we run some code here in delayed code blocks that run after a specified number of milliseconds to append script tags for the DS namespace and then its associated CSS files here.